106.1 KMEL, your girl Ro here, joining me in the studio in light of Women's History Month. We have an inspirational speaker, community activist, and published author. Her book, Resilient Voices, is now available on Amazon and Amazon Kindle. Everybody, please join me in welcoming Khariyyah Shabazz.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Thank you for coming through. So I know that you just started the book tour last week.
Yes, it's been an exciting adventure. I started off in Vallejo. That's where I live. That's where I reside right now. I'm from East Oakland, though. And it was amazing. We had a wonderful turnout. It was an Alibi bookshop. We had community leaders. We had residents. We had some public officials show up. So it was a really great space.
That sounds official. Well, congratulations. So with the book, Resilient Voices, what motivated you or what inspired you to write this book?
Yeah, so the book really stemmed from my professional speaking platform, Khariyyah Speaks. And it was a way for me to really continue to carry my message of resilient communities throughout the world. I always believe that no matter who you are, you literally have the tools, you have the skills, you have what's inside of you to move your communities in the way that you want to see it. And when I say that, I mean, when we're talking about things that we want to see getting done, when we're talking about violence prevention, when we're talking about environmental justice and certain things that we want to really engage with, when we're talking about youth development, you have those tools to really get in your community and get active.
You know, when you were speaking just now, I can just tell how passionate you are. Like, I could see it, I could feel it. Yeah. And I love that, you know? So what was that moment where you were like, you know what? I need to make this like a life's purpose.
Oh, wow. Thank you for asking me that. So for the past 16, 17 years, I've worked in nonprofit leadership. I started off working within after school programs, shout out Higher Ground, right here in East Oakland. And I was able to really see families move, really see youth change, and really see a lot of neighborhood shift. I then started working with many community initiatives. I worked on multi-million-dollar community initiatives that really geared towards environmental justice, that geared towards community engagement, that geared towards providing housing for individuals. And these things I saw were really, it worked. It worked. I saw how the narrative was really completely different from what you may hear on the media for what's actually going on the ground level. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I really wanted to really lift those positive things up as to what's really going on. There's really some great best practices that Oakland is using, that San Francisco is using. A lot of these community-based organizations are coming together doing this place-based learning and really being successful at it. Right. So that's one thing that I really wanted to focus on was changing the narrative, y'all, and ensuring that those positive things and those best practices are being spread across the world so that we can all get active and get engaged to really get things done.
Wow. Yeah. Good for you, girl. Look at that. I was like, okay. So let's go back to the book. So this, I feel like not a lot of people can say that they know a published author. Right? Okay. So walk us through the process of what it was like to write the book and to get it published. So what was that like? Yeah.
So y'all, it started with the seed, right? It started with the seed being planted. I started off by like posting certain quotes from my speeches, and the book, it's in Resilient Voices, inspirational quotes, best practices, and community voices, right? So I started off by actually lifting quotes from speeches that I've written. I started off by posting that, and then here comes my auntie like, you need to write a book. So I was like, okay. So then,
say less.
Yes, say less. So that's what really it takes, y'all, when y'all get that little inspiration to really do those things that you want to do in life. It really just takes a seed. And when that's planted, that's when you're supposed to go ahead and run with it, right? So that process was an amazing process. I was able to actually start writing the book last year during Ramadan, and Ramadan Mubarak for those folks. We are in Ramadan now. And really, isolate myself, right? You got to get disciplined.
Right.
You got to take out certain things that you normally would do.
That's the hard part.
You know what I mean?
Discipline.
So fortunately, it was during that time of year. I was disciplined. I was focused. I had an amazing publisher, Revision Publishing. Shout out to Miss Akila Trine. She has a publishing company, but the publishing company teaches you how to self-publish. So the book is actually published under Khariyyah Speaks Incorporated. So that was really extremely helpful. She found me an editor. She found me an artist, and just really made those steps become really a reality. So when it started becoming a reality, you see that first draft, right? You see that second draft. Your mind starts to go, the ideas begin to flow, and it happens. So shout out to Revision Publishing. That was a complete process. It took about, we're going to say 6 to 9 months, really, for it all to be completely finished, edited, ready to serve. One thing I do want to say is that even though you may look over it again, y'all, right. When you finally decide.
How do you pick and choose like what makes it into the book?
Yeah. So one key thing, a few key parts of the book that was really one of my favorites are the interviews, right? So some of the interviews I feature some other community leaders. I thought it was really important to hear the stories of other community leaders who have had success in really doing this work. These are community leaders that I've learned from, that I've grown with, and that I've collaborated with on so many levels. So shout out to Tori Johnson. She's a really big food advocacy. You know, the basics of making sure that everyone eats. Shout out to Keita Price, the Hood Planning Group. She has her own organization all around city planning. Shout out B. Coleman, who is a housing advocate and continues to fight for land, for us to own our own land. And of course, shout out to Dr. Tanisha Cannon. She is the executive director of All of Us or None, and she continues to fight for our brothers and sisters who are still incarcerated to this day. So a lot of those things that I've chose to come into the book are things that I've actually experienced and worked on. The chapters range from environmental justice, youth development, violence prevention. These are all things within my field within the last 17, 18 years that I've been able to grow and flourish and learn from.
See, writing a book is like obviously no easy feat. And every time I think about like writing a book, so I like writing, but I always think about back to like my college days writing, and I always be getting like writer's block. How do you navigate that?
Wow. So I'm so happy that you mentioned that because I wanted to make it palatable. Right?
Yeah.
Not everyone, especially a lot of our busy lives, have the time to really pick up a book. So I started with quotes, and then I just gave brief explanation of the quotes. A lot of the work I do, I've studied, I've read other books that got me a lot of other ideas. So reading other books, starting with something small, something that folks can just take bite-sized pieces and still get the information that they need. That was extremely helpful for me.
Yeah, I feel like this sounds like a book that I would definitely enjoy because it's, you know, you break it down from like interviews to quotes.
Yeah.
Because I have a short attention span.
That part.
Yeah. And the fact that people sometimes do find a hard time trying to finish a book, you know? So I feel like this would definitely be like a breeze.
Yeah. And even the interviews, you can go on my website, www.KhariyyahSpeaks.com and watch the interviews. Like if you're not even in the mood, like I don't want to read all this, just go to my website and I have it all on my gallery. I wanted to make it real easy. Like this type of information, everyone should have access to. Right. And that's a huge part of my work is ensuring that people have accessible means to the information and education that they really need.
Right. And I love that, you know, it's so informative and the message behind it is just so powerful and you make it, you know, an easy read. Like anybody could read this.
That's what I wanted.
You know?
That's what I wanted. I wanted a teenager.
Done. Okay.
I wanted a teenager to be able to pick it up. There's a youth development chapter where I give tips to the youth. So I wanted to make it extremely easy for folks to just digest and then get to work.
Right. So we just mentioned earlier that you're currently on your book tour.
Yes.
So last week, Vallejo.
Yes.
Upcoming is Oakland. And I
Yes.
saw that you're going to be actually venturing out of the Bay.
Oh, yes.
ATL, even Tanzania.
Oh, yes.
Oh, my God. So
Yes.
how has the reception of the book, or what was the feedback of your book so far?
Yeah, the feedback has been all positive, amazing things. I've been receiving a lot of encouragement. I've been receiving like a lot of validation, like, you know what, this is what we needed. Something to make it a little bit easier, especially we know the times of what's going on right now. The time right now.
I was just about to say that.
You feel me?
Yeah.
The time right now is for us to organize. The time right now is to focus on your local level and to find out what you can do to really push this movement and to really resist against a lot of things that we're seeing on the federal level.
Right.
The way that you resist is forming these small clusters within your neighborhood, teaming up with your city's leaders and your political figures, bringing great ideas to the table so that we can turn that into legislation and then really seeing that legislation work for the communities who need it the most.
Right. So what I'm going to do right now,
Yes.
I'm going to pick a random page in the book.
Okay.
I'm going to read a little part of it. And I want you to let everybody know what part or what's going on in that section of the book.
Okay,
So
let's go.
random. Okay. Because it's happening right now, like all over the world, like beyond the US. I just saw that they're doing it in France right now. So now it's spreading, and it has a lot to do with how technology and social media works. I'm about to go down a rabbit hole, astrology and the age of Aquarius, right? Technology and Aquarius also being an energy that is about social change and communal wellness, and how those things go together because it's poppin'.
Oh, yeah. No, that's a quote from Ms. B. Coleman. I already know. That is an insert from B. Coleman. That is our housing advocate. B continues to lift up those across the world globally, and really uses her influence to get things done. So they are huge on bringing in technology, huge on bringing in, engineering, and bringing in all types of other ways that we can really serve the community. So they were just laying out some examples on how we can do it right here at our local level as well.
Beautiful. I got that. So you also mentioned your platform, Khariyyah Speaks.
Yes.
So I saw that you also are an motivational speaker, a keynote speaker. So considering I'm talking political, economical, even dating climate, I feel like so many people are down bad right now. So if you were to give, a few words of inspiration, just a message, a general message to everybody right now from your perspective as a inspirational or motivational speaker, what do you want to tell the people?
I want to tell the people that it starts from within. In the first chapter of my book, it's all about creating your own personal journey, because before we can serve other people, communities, or be in relationships and really affect folks on that type of level, you have to be solid within yourself.
Right.
So within that first chapter, you have a goal setting sheet that you can download from the website. You have a roadmap on how to really get to the things that you want done in your life personally, your personal goals. And you have inspirational quotes that really lead you and guide you to really find out who you are. So my message to the people is to work on yourself, isolate yourself at times, think about who you are within and how you come off to others, and then think about the type of person that you would want to be within a relationship, within an organization, within a community. How would you land?
Yeah.
So look within, y'all.
I love that. And just when you touched on isolation and working on yourself, because I feel like that is probably one of the most scary things for people, especially, when you say isolation. As somebody who lives alone, I feel like your isolation or your solitude is your superpower.
Yes.
Because it's really uncomfortable to sometimes be alone at night with your thoughts, you know, but being able to sit with yourself and work through your thoughts and learning to learn self, you know, like I feel like that is powerful.
It is powerful. And yes, that is your superpower, so that you're able to really control your reactions when the world comes to you.
Right.
You cannot control what gets thrown at you. You cannot control what's going to roll off of somebody's heart or somebody's tongue, but you can control your reaction.
Right.
And that time that you spend with yourself, that's how you really work on that and really focus and hone in as to who the type of person is that you want to be.
Right.
So, yes.
So I feel like, absolutely, having a stronger sense of self will help you or help people to better navigate the world.
Yes.
You know?
Completely.
So I believe that 100%. So on that note, of course, working on yourself, that is huge. So obviously we talked about, you know, it being Women's History Month.
Yes.
So, of course, having you as our guest for Women's History Month, who are some women that have, you know, mentored you or women that you look up to?
Yeah. So my mentorship really starts within my home.
Of course.
So, yeah, of course, my mother, my tagline is I'm number 7 of the Shabazz tribe. I am the youngest. I'm the 7th child from my mother. So,
so you're the baby.
Yes, I'm the baby.
Like me.
Yes. So seeing her, the way that she maneuvered through life with all of us throughout East Oakland and beyond was completely inspiring. And I didn't know that I was in poverty. I had no idea. So for her to be able to provide in that type of way, for me to never feel that that harshness of the world was really a huge thing for me. And of course, my sisters, Salima Jones and Sadiqa Shabazz, they have both been huge mentors for me. Salima Jones, she started off, she went to law school, became a lawyer. Now she's working on a county level with housing development, and as well as the executive director of Put Your Play On Productions, which is a nonprofit organization that provides social conscious plays and productions. And then we have Sadiqa Shabazz. She's also been a huge mentor of mine. She's executive director of Culture Club Collaborative, and she's a thespian. She's a director over in Minnesota. And they're just doing some amazing things whenever I need to bounce off ideas and really want to get inspired. And they really laid out the map for me. They were the first ones to go to college that I was able to really understand and grasp from. So it's been amazing. Of course, I do have another sister, Shaniqua Dixon, and she's been an amazing person, just showing that I can do this on my own. I don't have to, but she has been that strength for our family to really show that we can carry this torch and really be that example and that representation for the next generation.
Right. I love how you speak on your family, you know, and I could tell that your upbringing, your home was full of love, especially in the way that you speak about your mom and how you said you grew up in poverty, but you didn't even know that, you know, because your mom made it as if you guys were not lacking anything.
At all.
Right.
Yeah. 77th and Bancroft, y'all, Greenside. So, but no, for real, that was huge. You know, I have brothers. My father has always been a really strong leader in the community. I just really have really great examples and a huge foundation to be able to really move this work.
I bet your family is really proud, right?
Yeah, they are. Shout out to, I know, my brother.
A book published?
Yes. Akil the Big Deal. He's like, see if they go play my song on the radio. I said, I'm going to ask. So Akil the Big Deal. He has a song that's out right now.
Shameless plug. Gotta do it.
I'll pull up slapping. Y'all download that on all platforms.
Hey, so again, Women's History Month. Would you consider yourself a feminist?
Okay, y'all. Of course, we will want to consider ourselves a feminist, because a feminist just means that you believe that women should have rights just along with everyone else.
Right.
this is where the hesitation comes from, right? Because we know when the Feminist Act started, it did not include Black women. It did not include women of color. It wasn't until they actually teamed up with women of color and Black women to really spread this message and become way more powerful. So I think we have to understand the origin of being a feminist, and as well as the journey that it took and where it is now. Of course, now I'm all thing for all women. Women are very powerful. Women are the ones who are making this world really move. Women are the givers of life and the inspiration, and they really have the power to really put a lot of hands on this society by controlling these children that go out into this world. You know what I mean?
Right.
So women are our first teachers, our babies' first teachers. So, of course, I am for all women's rights, and I'm here for it.
Right. So I'm glad that you touch on that, because I didn't even know like the origin of feminism. So
it didn't include us. Yeah. It didn't include us.
But now it does. And we're going to make sure that it stays that way.
That it stays that way.
Hey, okay. So with that, we're going to roll into a little game. Okay. So right now, I'm going to ask you like a couple of questions. It's going to be very like candid.
Okay.
So first question, would you date a guy who makes less money than you?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would date a guy who makes less money than me. As long as my guy is motivated, as long as my guy has something that he cares about. And I want him to actually like his job, even if his job doesn't even pay as much as mine may have. But I would definitely date a guy as long as he's still bringing those other characteristics to the table, and really have a pathway and a passion to go to the next place in life.
Yeah. See, for me, it's a hard pass. I would not. So,
are you serious?
Backstory.
Okay.
So in the past, I've always, I've dated guys who made less money than me, so I've always been in that position where I've had to take care of him.
See,
and because the way that I grew up, my dad was he had such masculine energy, so I grew up in a traditional household, so my dad was everything that a man should be.
Right.
So he was the provider, the protector, all of that, but when I was younger, dating again, like I said, I was always the one who made more money than the guy. So now, and I look back at that, I'm like, I want to know what it feels like to be led. Yeah. I want to know what it feels like to be taken care of, because I'm always in a position where I have to take care of somebody. So I want that in return.
No, I totally agree with you wholeheartedly. But if my guy, he may know how to manage money better than me.
Right.
So it may still end up that way, that he definitely does have to be a leader. Let's make that clear. He has to be a leader. As you can see, I have a strong personality, so he needs to know how to maneuver around that and allow me to definitely submit in ways that will only bring us closer and stronger together as a couple. So I definitely feel you on that.
Yeah. So I think bottom line is he must be a leader.
Yes.
So, okay. Next, would you date a guy with kids?
Again? Will I date him again? All right, check this out. I prefer for your kids to be grown. Let's be real. Let's be reality.
Yeah.
I prefer for your children to be grown. When I say grown, teenage works for me.
Okay.
Teenage works for me. But it's so rare. I don't have children.
I don't either.
That's what I do.
But that's the thing. I love kids.
I love them.
And kids love me. I have a ton of nieces and nephews.
Yeah.
But I think I'm in a place in my life where, if I have kids, cool. If not, that's okay too.
Okay.
But, for me, so the thing is, in my age group, I'm finding it's more common than not that the guys do have kids.
Yeah, they have kids. That's why I'm like, you know what I mean?
So,
within this age group, guys got kids.
Right. So I feel like at this point, it's not a non-negotiable for me, but I feel like it is a strong preference. you know,
strong,
a strong preference,
heavy,
but heavy on that. But you know, for me, in my date in the past, like I don't know what it feels like for a man to put me first.
Yeah. See, that's the thing.
So on that note, I feel like, you know, if a guy has kids, I will never come first, nor would I expect him to put me first.
Right.
But I feel like if he does put me first before his kids, I feel like that also is a red flag.
That's a red flag.
Yeah.
And that's why I said I want your kids to be a little bit older, so they're a little bit more, you know, self-sufficient and can handle. I'm a busy woman, so I'm not like very, very needy, but you know when you're supposed to be there. You know what I mean?
Right.
Special events, special things to be supportive with. As you know, I got a lot of events coming up. I got a lot of things going on. I'm going to need you there. So I totally understand you on that.
We on the same page with that.
We are.
Yes. Okay. So next question. Are you open to having a sugar daddy?
Again? Nah.
Again?
Nah. At this point.
Wait, she said again?
At this point of my life, I don't want nothing from you if you don't want to give it to me. You know what I mean? I shouldn't have to ask for anything. Like, that's how I feel. I do have a little age limit-ish.
What's your age limit?
I don't know. What? We're going to go as low as, because I'm at the age where I can go low or I can go high.
Wait, what's the lowest and what's the highest you would go?
Okay, 28 is my lowest.
Okay, wait, how old are you?
39.
Gotcha, okay.
Okay.
10-year gap.
But you got to be mature.
Yeah.
You got to have your stuff together. Like, I was a mature 28-year-old. You know, we got it together. And highest 52.
52.
I was just throwing it out there. Because I need you to be able to keep up.
Right.
Like, have some energy, be able to, you know, move how I move on certain occasions.
Yeah.
I like to chill. I like to relax too. Don't get me wrong. But I also like to get active and be out there. So I'm going to need that, you know. But for a sugar daddy, like, I don't want an exchangeable type of thing. Like, you know what I mean? If you see that I need something, go ahead and take care of it. Don't try to wait for me to ask, because I'm going to do the same for you.
Right. That part. Okay. So, last question.
Okay.
Does size matter?
Oh, goodness. Yes, we're going to say yes, of course. And it depends, because girth matters, length matters, how you moving it matters. Like, all of that completely matters, and that determines if you got a little bit more girth, you can go a little on the smaller side. You know what I mean? If it's just like,
there's ratios to this.
Ratios that you can work with. You feel me? And if it's just too much,
it's not even enjoyable.
It's not even enjoyable at that point. You feel me?
Yeah.
So y'all just don't be insecure and just really focus on what the women got, what she got going on, how she feeling, and how that's pleasing her. Because if she's pleased, then she'll be able to really take all types of things.
I'm gonna say, for me, like you, yes, size does matter, because I mean, what you gonna do with a Vienna sausage, right?
I know.
But also, even if they're working with something big and you don't know how to use it, then
yes,
ain't no damn point. Like, it's so fucking disappointing. Yeah. Like, you know. So that part, I agree with you. But thank you so much for coming through.
It was fun.
Khariyyah Shabazz.
Yes.
So, Resilient Voices, like I mentioned, available on Amazon and Amazon Kindle.
Yes, and you can get it at Marcus Bookstores over in Oakland, California. You can get it at Alibi Bookshop, and also the Vallejo Museum over in Vallejo. And then we have the tour date coming up March 29th. Y'all come out to Pierre Restaurant
in 1 week.
Yes. Next literally 1 week, y'all. It's going to be from 3 to 5. Come. It's going to be hosted by Elite Noel. I featured other artists, Mr. Aesop. He wrote a book, 15 Tips on making dating easy for men.
Hey.
So listen, that's interesting. And then I included Miss Akila Trine, who's the publisher of Revision Publishing, and she writes children's books. So I really want to bring a variety, and I have a book all about community. So I wanted to bring a variety of authors and perceptions so people can really get a grasp of what's really going on, the publishing process, and ask questions that really matter to them.
That part. So Resilient Voices,
Yes.
the tour continues in 1 week out there in the town.
Yes.
Now, where can everybody find you on socials?
Oh, yeah. Come holla at me on Instagram, y'all. Khariyyah Speaks. That's KHARIYYAH. Go ahead and hit that follow. I am literally, I'm on LinkedIn. Go ahead and check me out on LinkedIn if you want to see all the other stuff we're doing.
You're the first guest ever to shout out their LinkedIn.
Oh, no, LinkedIn. LinkedIn
Yes,
is the
that's how you
spot.
know. That's how you know you're a professional.
No, listen, LinkedIn is the spot, y'all. Come find me. Tomorrow, I'm going to be with the NAACP over in San Mateo, vending and talking about the book. So make sure you all connect. And I'm going to see y'all soon because I know y'all going to be at the next stop, right?
Hey,
Yeah.
of course, find me on the socials, Instagram, Snapchat, or X, ROWBOT408. Thank you once again, Khariyyah Shabazz. This is KMEL.
Thank you.